Hello and welcome to your mini lesson on archetypes, which are everywhere. As you can see, Mrs. Weller Hall is having a lot of fun with the program Face in a Hole, and I have become the fairy godmother today to grant you some wishes. Fairy godmother is also an example of an archetype, which we'll talk about in this lesson. So today we're going to define what an archetype is and find some examples in literature, movies, and your real life. Archetypes. They're based on a psychologist named Carl Jung, his theory, and he says that there are these things called archetypes, which are models after which similar things are patterned, so that there's role models for us, I guess, in literature and society and culture. And he says it's only possible to live the fullest life when we are in harmony with these symbols. Wisdom is to return to them. So when things keep coming up over and over again, you should probably pay attention to them because they are important. So let's look at what some types of archetypes are. When you're reading literature, I'm sure that you've seen colors pop up. And colors, your English teacher has probably told you, they usually mean something or they symbolize or represent something. So each color actually is an archetype. It stands for something repeatedly over time through cultures and through history. And here are some examples. Like red usually symbolizes blood or passion or anger. Black, chaos, mystery, and death. Green can be hope or envy or earth or money. White can be peace or innocence. An orange color could be pride or ambition or fire. Blue usually means tranquility or spirituality. Violet or purple is most likely representing memory or royalty. And gold symbolizes wealth and the sun, while silver symbolizes moon and the wealth. Now, none of these should appear new to you, and the reason being is because you've seen these color archetypes. It's a pattern. It happens over and over again in your reading and in your life. And in movies, you see these patterns reoccurring. Numbers. Numbers are a great one to look at for archetypes. Four numbers in particular appear in literature and movies and culture over and over again. The first one being the number 3, which if anyone has been to a Christian church, you will know that means the Trinity, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In many religions, the number 3 will symbolize mind, body, and soul, like a unity. The number 4 in literature often resembles or represents mankind or seasons or elements. You'll see that we have 4 seasons, we have 4 elements, we have 4 limbs. So these numbers become important. They get repeated over and over again. The number 6 almost always refers to something bad or evil. So if you see that coming up, you're probably ready to meet a dangerous character. And then the number 7 is considered a holy number. It's usually symbolic of a relationship between man and God. So there's 3 in the Trinity and 4 in mankind, so that's divinity plus mankind. 7 comes up in our culture all the time. We have 7 days of the week, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 deadly sins. There's plenty of 7s that just keep reoccurring, and that's not by accident. Shapes also can be archetypes. We see a circle and we think of unity, eternity, and never ending. A square usually symbolizes some stability or even Earth itself. A rectangle usually symbolizes rationality and security. A cross usually means a struggle, like you have a cross to bear. Ovals usually represent women or femininity. And triangles typically represent communication between heaven and earth, or communication in general. Nature. You see nature and settings come up in stories all the time. So what are some things that pop up in there? Well, you might see stars. Characters looking to the stars for guidance, looking at the North Star in particular. that help guide them to a place, or wishing upon a star. That's a common pattern in literature. The sun is usually a hero. It's, life-giving. It's the opposite of the moon, the dark, which is kind of scary and frightening. Rain usually means giving life, like as soon as the rain comes, everything's happy and full of life again. Trees usually mean knowledge, a tree of knowledge or tree of life. When characters are lost in a forest, they're usually lost in a forest. It represents fear or feeling lost or overwhelmed. Characters that go up a mountain mean they're trying to achieve a goal, or they're ambitious. And characters that go to the bottom, to the valley, the lowest point between two mountains, is usually indicative of a depression. And then lakes often represent mystery. Now, there's many other nature archetypes. These are just a few, just to give you an example of like how certain settings or certain items in nature have been used over and over again to represent different ideas. And that is called archetypes. Now, for our purposes, we're going to look at something called the hero's journey. And we'd learned about what a hero is. We're going to look at heroes typically follow a role model of a plot. They've all followed the same type of plot structure. And some background on this particular is Joseph Campbell. He is a professor of mythology, or was a professor of mythology, and he studied all these cultures, myths, and religions and found that this common pattern, this archetype about the hero and what kind of journey they went on, or what kind of quest that they went on. And he titled this called the monomyth. Mono means one myth. It's a universal narrative, something that all cultures have in common, which is super cool. So this discovery united all of humanity by the stories we all believe and live by. Simply put, the hero's journey and plot structure follows our same plot structure. We have an exposition and rising action, and then the hero's journey, that's called the departure. A hero leaves to go on a quest. And then there's a climax and a falling action, which is the initiation. The hero goes through some tests. And a resolution, the hero returns back home with some new knowledge. Now we're going to spend next week learning specifically about this plot structure and all the little elements that go along with it. So don't worry about that right now. Types of archetypal journeys that a hero can go on are a quest for identity, to find out who you are, to find some promised land, or to find a good city to live in. The quest for vengeance, that's always a good one. To save people, to search for love, to search for knowledge. A tragic quest, so a penance or self-denial, something that they're trying to seek forgiveness for. If you've ever seen My Name is Earl, the show where he has a near-death experience and has to go back and make amends for things, that would be a tragic quest. A fool's errand, meaning it's just a stupid thing to go on. You're not gonna win. It's like a suicide mission. A quest to rid the land of danger, or the Grail quest, which is the quest for human perfection. So these are 10 types of common themes that go for what a hero can go through for his hero's journey, her hero's journey. In each one of these, there are characters that keep popping up over and over again. And those are the hero, obviously, which is the primary purpose to complete one of the quests that we just talked about. There's a mentor, someone who is going to provide some training or insight to the hero, someone who helps them along. There's a character called the Shadow, who is the hero's enemy or antagonist, and that person usually represents our dark desires and fears. There is a threshold guardian, and that's usually the first person that the hero meets that will test the hero's commitment to a quest. Then there's the shapeshifter character, the one who might mislead the hero, a double agent, someone you're just not quite so sure about. You have a trickster, usually a character in these quests is like comic relief or helps the the hero see something by playing tricks on them. And then you have two common female characteristics, archetypes: the goddess, who's usually the love interest or someone to the hero returns to, and then there's a temptress, someone who tries to get the hero off track. If you guys are Star Wars fanatics, here is some examples. We have Luke Skywalker as a hero. Yoda was his mentor. The shadow figure was Darth Vader. The tricksters are our comic relief for R2-D2 and C-3PO. Shapeshifter could be Han. Sometimes you're not sure about his loyalty. Threshold guardians could be the stormtroopers, someone who's going to, that's their first fight, someone to test the commitment. And then Princess Leia sometimes goes both ways. She can be the one to return to, and maybe the temptress as well. There are some other popular movies that you might find some archetypes in. Harry Potter. You have a hero, Harry. Dumbledore is his mentor. He who should not be named is the enemy or the shadow. You have a threshold guardian, someone who tests their commitment. The shapeshifter, Snape, you never know whose side he's on. And then the trickster, Ron Weasley, someone who's providing comic relief. And then you can see some of the other examples in popular movies that we'll go over in class. And that concludes our mini lesson on archetypes, and I'll see you in class and we'll discuss this some more.